Hey there, I just wanted to do a quick demo for a proof of concept for a social graph built on top of IPFS. And to demonstrate it, I have two independent IPFS nodes which are not in communication with each other out of the box. They perhaps will figure that out on their own. And I just wanted to show that you can create part of a social graph through one and part of a social graph through another, have those people follow each other, and then have them able to obtain the information they need to put the timeline together, regardless of what server they're using. So let's get this stuff up and running. I've got two different copies of the server. One is going to talk to localhost port 7767 on the first IPFS node, and the other one's going to do port 7867 on the second node. They're not running yet. Key stores don't even exist. So I'm going to get those up and running now. That's how we're going to start number 0. So this should work. Actually, it might take a second to prepare the key store. Yeah, there's some issue with the key store at the first startup. Okay, that's going now. This one shall still be unable to even find anything. Now we'll get the second IPFS running. Okay, give it a second. Okay, they're both up and running now. Let's go to the little web UI and see what comes out of port 4588. It's a little page, and you created a little IndexedDB. We'll get the same thing off port 4589. Separate DB because a separate origin. So let's go to create profiles. Alice and Bob over here. Oops, did the wrong thing. New identity. Okay. They can't do anything yet because they have not had their key added to the server. So let's try to post from Alice. Send private key so we can do IPNS for us. 403 forbidden. Let's add our profile ID to the whitelist so you can see the log that was forbidden. I actually have an old one from a prior run here. Let's just get rid of the old one, and this can be a CSV list too, but for now I'm just going to put in the one Alice key, and now Alice should be able to create the post. And it's pending. We should see it pop up here eventually. I'm going to go and get Bob able to post through his server too, because it's going to do the same thing. Bob, hi, I am Bob. And this would have been, where's the, can't see it. Yeah, okay, forbidden. Let's go add Bob to his. Okay. Bob. Bob should be able to post now. Yeah, there it is. It just took a second. I am Bob, and Alice has finally got her post showing up. Now let's get Alice and Bob following each other so they can ideally see each other's things. This is Bob's profile ID. Let's get Alice to do a follow. Oh, did I get some extra junk in there? No. Really follow. Yep. And then let's get Alice's profile ID and get Bob to follow her. Okay, so those follows. Not sure what happened there. And then it may take a moment, but we can actually see here already from Alice's point of view we see that Alice followed Bob, and then we see Bob's content, which is pretty good. On Bob's side of things, his node is still probably fetching the content or trying to figure out who Alice is, and just due to IPNS limitations, that can sometimes take some time, which is a little frustrating, but it is what it is right now. I have ideas to maybe speed that up and have communication between the little service that I've made here, so that it can, get that information out faster. Here we can see Bob's node was unable to figure out who exactly this profile is, and of course I wasn't sure I'd actually clicked it, so I did it twice. So that's why we're seeing it pop up twice now. That should be pretty harmless. And once his node can figure out who this is, we should see that replaced by just the name Alice, which may take a moment. But over here in Alice land, we do know who Bob is, and we can go ahead and we can try to reply to Bob. We can welcome Bob to our world, and eventually see that post pop up here, which may take a minute. And in fact, we do see it now. Our reply to Bob, of course. Now if we go back on Bob's side, let's see if we've got any update in Bob's ability to get all the info. This history may take a moment. And we can now see that we have been able to resolve the name, but we're still missing the reply from Alice under "Hi, I am Bob." We should see Alice welcoming us. While we wait for that, let's tell Alice something. And we can see that right away on our end. Will Alice be able to see Bob's response? Let's see. I think while we're waiting for all of Bob's posts to be able to be resolved by Alice's server, we can go ahead and create a new identity that can also post through Alice's server. Let's create Charles. Charlie just wants to create a simple new hello world post, but he is not authorized on the server. However, there is an easy fix for that. Since we've gone ahead and whitelisted Alice, all we need to do is have Alice follow Charlie, and then Charlie can post through Alice's server. So let's go and add Charlie's. That was Charlie, right? Ending MUC. Yeah, MUC. Oh, also on Alice, I do see eventually, finally, some reply from Bob, which is quite nice. But here we're going to follow Charlie using Alice. Now that should have caused the server to immediately add Charlie's profile ID to the whitelist there. So now in theory, Charlie should be able to do his hello world through the same server that Alice is using. And there we have it. And in fact, because Alice has followed Charlie, at some point Charlie's hello world should appear on Alice's timeline. Charlie hasn't followed anyone, so he's not going to see anything from anyone yet. But there we go. Charles hello world. And we have Bob's reply, and that's pretty much where we're at with this right now. So we can see how we can add people to our server. We can see how we follow other people to allow them to post through our server. So all they need to do is go to the page, create an identity, and then get whitelisted, and then they're off to the races. We see how servers can eventually communicate with each other and resolve the content ID information to assemble the timeline. We can see that we're generating the keys within the browser here. The only reason we're sending them to the server at all, and this is a local host server which I control, so this is safe. If it was something else, someone else's server, this would not be safe. But the only reason that I'm sending them to the server is so that the server can create IPNS records and publish them from this profile ID. Because if it can't, then it has to publish them using something else. Now I had this idea we can delegate that information to be served by the server, so that the server publishes like a list of the profiles that it's got the latest info for, and then that one server could provide that info for a whole bunch of profiles without having to do IPNS updates for each individual one. But that's, I don't know, it's just a different approach. It's less pure. Having it all done through IPNS, I think, is very, very pure. And I think at some point, eventually, the IPNS functionality to do updates within just pure JavaScript, the JS IPFS library, should hopefully eventually get there, and then you'd really be able to ditch the whole server component altogether, I think. Anyway, I think this is a pretty good proof of concept. There's tons of ideas to build on top of this. I think that we don't need multiple social protocols if one data structure can define interactions between identities and the history of those interactions. Then it doesn't really matter what you use to display that, and you can filter out things that you don't want to see, and don't follow people that post things you don't want. Yeah, that's my idea. Thank you for having a look.